Welcome to the Next Normal Positive Friday. I'm David, and I'm your host for this new segment that we are offering every Friday night on aspects of positive thinking. Today, we're talking about expectations. Um, have you ever felt let down by your expectations? Have you ever felt looked forward to something or expected something from someone and it didn't happen and you felt let down? I know I have. And some might say that, we shouldn't have expectations because, then we won't feel let down. But I don't agree really. I think that expectations are good. Positive expectations are good. That when we have positive expectations, it allows us to align our thoughts and our actions to manifest that expectation and to plan for it. The problem is when we become attached to that outcome. Today I want to talk about, how we can have determined thoughts and positive expectations without becoming attached to a particular outcome, and how to pay attention to not feeding negative expectations. Sister Jenna started the Next Normal as a response to the COVID crisis, because we weren't able to continue the programs that we used to do at the Meditation Museum because we were all on lockdown at that time. And one of the things I admire most about Sister Jenna is her determination. She is always an example of using that determination to bring about positive outcomes, and how she holds on to that, but doesn't become disappointed if something turns out a different way. In the response to the COVID crisis is a perfect example of that. We were all doing had programs, very active programs at the Meditation Museum. And all right, so now we're on lockdown, what to do? We could be wringing our hands about that and worried about that. But no, instead of that, let's focus on how we can respond to this and expand the classes that we're doing. And this has been a blessing for us, because without COVID, we would have never had the Next Normal. And there are so many more people who are taking benefit from these classes now that we're online than there were at the museum, just at the museum. We would have 30 people come to a class there, and sometimes 50, sometimes 60. But now with the Next Normal online, there's 1,000 people in the class. So Sister Jenna is an example of that to me. And I'll tell you a story about her and about how she is an example of using that determination. And the story goes back 20 years to when I first met her. And at that time, I was working for the newly elected mayor of Washington, the popular and newly elected mayor of Washington, as his scheduler. And we would get so many calls and letters and requests for him to meet with people or to speak at an event. Probably 95% of the requests that we would get for him, we couldn't do, because there just wasn't that much time. We only were able to do about 5% of them. And one day I got a call from Sister Jenna, who I didn't know at that time. And she called to ask if the mayor could come and present, could meet with Dadi Prakashmani, who was the leader of the Brahma Kumaris at that time. The Brahma Kumaris is the organization, as you know, that we are all part of, and part of the teachings, and that behind all that we share with you on this program. So Dadi Prakashmani was coming to Washington, and Sister Jenna wanted her to meet with the mayor. And so she called me up. I didn't know her. And, knowing what the mayor's schedule was like, I told Sister Jenna, well, I'm sure he would love to meet with her, but unfortunately, there just isn't an opportunity on the day that she's coming. And so Sister Jenna, rather than resisting that response or becoming disappointed with that response, immediately, said, well, could you arrange for someone else on his team to meet with Dadi Prakashmani? And so I said, well, let me see. And I tried to get the director of religious affairs. I tried to get the secretary of the District of Columbia and the deputy mayor, and all of them at the time that we were looking at had other commitments, and we weren't able to adjust that. And so I got back to Sister Jenna about this, and she said, well, could you arrange for a proclamation then? And a proclamation is an official sort of welcome that, can be an official welcome that we do in the District of Columbia. And so I said, well, yes, I think we can arrange for that. And so I arranged for this proclamation to proclaim Dadi Prakashmani Day in Washington, D.C. on June 10th. And I arranged for that at Sister Jenna's request. But then she wanted someone to come present it. And again, I'm trying to find someone in an appropriate role who can come and present this proclamation to Dadi Prakashmani. And, I can't arrange for anyone. No one is available to do that. And Sister Jenna says to me, well, why don't you come? Can't you come present the proclamation? Well, I'm a scheduler. I don't do that. That's not what I do. And she said, but you could still come and do that. And so I agreed. And so ultimately I came and presented this proclamation to Dadi Prakashmani, proclaiming June 10th, Dadi Prakashmani Day in the District of Columbia. This was back in 1999, more than 20 years ago. And through Sister Jenna's determination, and positive expectation, it turned out to be my fortune to meet Dadi Prakashmani. And that meeting was the seed of a key journey in my life. That was my introduction to the Brahma Kumaris and the introduction to this wonderful knowledge that's transformed my life to this day. And here, 20 years later, by the way, I'm still working for the government of the District of Columbia in a different role, but I still am there. But in this last 20 years, I guess the most significant part of my life that's really pervaded all of my life is the teachings and lessons and experiences I've had that started that day back in June 10th, 1999. And I owe that to Sister Jenna's determination and her positive expectations. And I've used that as remembering that, it's a great lesson for me to always hold on to that positive vision. And although the actual outcome may be different than what you expect, to hold on to that positive vision, watch what happens. You know, I'm still learning that lesson. And I remember a day many years ago, I think it probably was in 2008, we were doing a project called Kites for Peace. So over the years, Sister Jenna used to call me on around June 10th and ask me to be part of a project to continue this celebration of Dadi Prakashmani Day. And through that activity, I became closer and closer to the Brahma Kumaris and more involved. And we did a project in, I think it was 2004, called Envision a City of Values. And we planted the Om Shanti Peace Tree on the grounds of the US Capitol, honoring Dadi Prakashmani, and many other projects. In 2007, we were doing a project called Kites for Peace. And I love this project because I love kites is something I've always been enamored of. I collected them. And I think that part of it was some of the inspiration for doing this project. The idea was behind it was that we would invite children to come and decorate kites with messages of peace, and these would be shared with children around the world who were experiencing peacelessness, especially in their country. And the whole concept of this initiative was very inspiring to me. But I had a lot of doubts about how it would actually manifest. I kept on saying to Sister things like, well, we can't announce all this without first having it in place where these kites will go and who will receive them and how they will get there. And that was what was at the foundation of my thinking. Sister Jenna was different. She wasn't really concerning herself so much with those thoughts. She was just holding on to the vision of seeing the kids around the world receiving these kites from children here in the US and experiencing that generosity, of thoughts, that goodwill that these kites were representing. And so we arranged this event on the National Mall, actually right near the Washington Monument, which is known for a place where they fly kites, especially on the Smithsonian and Cherry Blossom Kite Festival Day. But we arranged for this event on June 10th in 2008, I think. And we did a lot of preparation for that event. We had the Sylvan Theater, which is right there on those grounds. And I was very much involved with getting that setting prepared for this event and all the decorations for it and set up for it. And things didn't turn out the way we had planned at all. Much of the preparation, the things that we were using to set up that day arrived late, and there wasn't time to really get things set up the way that I was envisioning them. And I will tell you that, as we say, I lost my stage entirely that day. I became so angry and upset about how things were turning out, and that it wasn't turning out the way that I envisioned it. But Sister Jenna was different. Sister Jenna held on to the vision of, and to the positivity of that vision. Not to a particular outcome, not particular way that it would look, but just to the positive outcome of it. And, despite my breakdown, my total meltdown that day, the project still had amazing results. It emerged, that an opportunity emerged to send these kites to children in Iraq, children in Niger. And this was during the the conflict in Iraq was still going on at that time. And I just remember the scenes and video of the children in Iraq receiving these kites from kids in America and flying them. And it was so inspiring. I'm still learning that lesson, that Sister Jenna was an example to teach me so many years ago. But hopefully I'm learning some of it. It brings to my awareness a new challenge that's come before us right now, and how, again, Sister Jenna is an inspiration to me in the determination of her vision to be an instrument for those divine qualities that we all have a connection to. I don't know if she mentioned to all of you, but the place that we have as our main center here in the Washington area, in McLean, Virginia, that we've been renting that place since, I think, 2008. And the owner, who's been good to us and informed us recently that he had received an offer that he couldn't turn down for the place, and he was going to sell it. And so we now learn that we have to find a new place by May 31st. And so Sister Jenna, when she shared this with me, that, in the past, I would have reacted to that with a lot of maybe frustration. But this time, it was different. This time, we were able to immediately focus on, okay, this is a wonderful opportunity to find a place that will be an opportunity for us to do even more, to help more people, to do more service. And the same day that she told me about having to find a new place, we identified a place that was perfect in so many regards. And our efforts are now focused on getting that place and lining up the resources to acquire that, and it will be a wonderful place for this service to continue. And what I've been doing, making sure that I do, is that I'm keeping my expectations about this positive and not feeding any doubts. I could be feeding doubts. Oh, what if we can't raise the money? Or what if the zoning doesn't work? In the past, that's where my thoughts would have gone. But I've practicing letting go of that and just visualizing how this place will be such a wonderful place for service, and seeing how that service can happen there. And in fact, I've had trouble just getting that out of my mind. I find that sometimes I get distracted by that, just thinking of that. So I'm sharing this with you because I think expectations can be good. And I think it's important to have positive expectations and align those thoughts in our intellect. So you might ask, how do we do that? How do we continue to do that? And for me, what we really need to pay attention to is not so much the details of an outcome, but to make sure that the thoughts that I am feeding are based in what is beautiful and positive within me. And when I do that, then I'm not tempted to feed those negative expectations or to feed doubt. If I pay attention to keeping my thoughts based in what's beautiful within me, what is connected to a divine source, keeping my thoughts based in love, joy, wisdom, the innocence of any desires, to keeping my thoughts based in that, then my efforts and energies are always going to be directed towards a positive outcome. I don't really have to worry about what will really happen. I know that if my thoughts are based in love, peace, kindness, and joy, and real wisdom, that it's always going to be the best thing. So I want to thank Sister Jenna for being an instrument to teach me that, teach me a lesson I'm still learning. And I hope that that this sharing will be an inspiration. So we'll close today with a meditation on letting go of attachments from Sister Jenna's meditation seed. Om Shanti.
What if I no longer carried any attachments about who I think I am or how someone else perceives me, or attachment to my country or my gender, attachment to a religion? What would it be like to be free of attachments to labels and to simply be loving? So just for a little while, I invite you to let go of attachments. What if I was no longer attached to my name? How does it feel? Let go of your attachment to your gender. You're no longer a man or a woman. Let go of your titles. Let go of your nationality. And experience yourself letting go of even your religion. Now let go of your body. If I don't have a name, a gender, a title, a nationality, a religion, or a body, then who would I think of? And who would think of me? It would be the Supreme Being that would think of me, and I would think of the Supreme. In this meditation, I invite you to sit in an experience of unlimited freedom and real inner power. Now gradually observe how the soul feels as it puts back on the awareness of the body, nationality, the religion, the title, the gender, and the name, and bring through these labels your experience of being with the divine and feeling free and at peace with yourself. Om Shanti.
For joining us today. Um, you know, I shared this story about inspirations from Sister Jenna, and I don't know whether you know, but today is actually her birthday. So please join me in wishing special birthday wishes to Sister Jenna on this special day. Thank you for being an inspiration to all of us. Happy birthday.